New guests and visitors walk through your doors every weekend, and we know you want to help them feel connected and at home from the moment they step foot in your doors. We want to help you reach those people more easily, communicate better, and make following up with them a walk in the park. My name is Ann Heath, and I'm the Customer Service Specialist here at Pastor's Line. Today, in this first video of a 4-part training series, I'm going to show you the evolution of the guest follow-up process and help you decide which processes and tools will work best for your church. Let's just dive right in. Okay, so without going too far back, we know that before technology, people connected directly with people. The pastor would know everyone who came to church and would be able to visit most of their new members or at least give them a call. But most times, new visitors were local residents around the town, and capturing information wasn't really necessary. Then, as life became faster and cities became larger and people just started moving more often, pastors were required to do more in less time. And because of this, guest books became an option. A guest book, or sometimes just a printed piece of paper, was used to write your name down when you first visited. Many churches actually still use this method, and it may be working okay for them. But for most churches, it's ineffective as most people don't fill it out or the information isn't useful. Quickly to follow was the evolution of the guest book into physical Connect cards. So let's talk about these a little more. Physical Connect cards are definitely here to stay. So whether you're using these as your main option or just as a backup, they are one of the best ways to break the ice if you have a guest services team. It's definitely not a perfect system, but some churches have had success with using only physical Connect cards with the correct script. Today, I'm not going to be focusing on collecting data in person from a one-on-one perspective, meaning one person to each guest or their family. Even though our process could be used this way, today I'm going to be talking about an and strategy, using all those other methods and adding new ones, not replacing them. One of the drawbacks of only using Connect cards is that someone still has to take the information and digitalize it manually. And this can take a lot of time. Some churches may collect this data, but end up not doing anything with it because of the work and time involved just in processing it. Another drawback with only using Connect cards is the issue of legibility. Your chances of capturing incorrect data for those guests are definitely increased when you're having to read sloppy handwriting, or if the scanner can't read or reads the information incorrectly. But again, we're not suggesting you replace physical Connect cards. We're only suggesting you enhance your current guest process. With the iPad revolution came kiosks, so what about those? Even kiosks at your church may be similar to your physical Connect cards. They might alleviate some of the challenges with physical Connect cards since they are a digital solution, but they could also be adding more challenges too, since they may feel impersonal or weird to people if there's no one around to help them. But then if they are manned, there's the challenge of staffing those kiosks every week. But regardless if they are manned or unmanned, people standing in line waiting to get to the kiosk could quickly create a bottleneck in the lobby as well. Again, I'm not saying kiosks are bad. They can actually work really great for guests to find out information about your church, but they may not be the best way to capture their information. Then came digital Connect cards that you could add to your church's website. A digital Connect card is essentially just a Connect card that's added to your website with an easy-to-remember URL. So for example, a church might use grace.org/next for their digital Connect cards URL. By using next, as in the next steps the guest needs to take, it helps to make their URL easier for that guest to remember later on. Some churches may even choose to buy a domain name like gracenext.com just to make their URL easier to remember. These digital Connect cards work really well for first-time guests if you're using them with your online church program. It can also work pretty well if done by the main pastor on stage and with a well-rehearsed and dedicated script. Digital Connect cards are perfect for internal use with your members and loyal visitors, or when your guests come back for the 3rd or 4th time. But what we have found is that it takes repetition of that link for others to remember it and then to actually take action later. So for first-time guests, this isn't always the most effective way to capture information. So here's what many other churches started doing next, a sort of hybrid model. Let's take a quick look. Recognizing that using digital Connect cards is probably the least effective way to digitalize their new guest process, most churches either gave up on the idea and returned to just using physical Connect cards, or they evolved with it. So what came next was the hybrid model we just mentioned. It paired the digital Connect card on your website with texting. Essentially, you would use a special trigger word called a keyword. You would then ask your first-time guest to text that keyword to your number. The number would typically be either a short code like 70000 or a local number like the 214 number shown here. When your guest texts the keyword to your number, an auto-reply text is sent immediately and automatically back to them. This text would typically be a short message and a link to the Digital Connect card on your website. This was very popular between 2013 and 2015, and many churches are actually still using this method with good success.
Thank you so much for checking out video 1 in today's presentation. You should now have a better understanding of the evolution of the new guest process. The next 2 videos are going to cover the 3 common mistakes that churches make when they're trying to digitalize their new guest process. And I'll be sharing with you some tips on how you can help your church avoid making these same mistakes. So stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.